Jonathan Womack with you on this edition of Community Insider. 43 years since 1978, the Dibrell community come together, organized the Dibrell Museum, preserving the history, vast history of the Dibrell School and the Dibrell College, and we're going to find out more about that. It's been several years since Community Insider has been here. What is happening with this wonderful nonprofit organization, that and much more is coming up on this edition of Community Insider.
Everybody started donating, and some people donated kegs of nails. One man had a sawmill and he cut all the wood, and the community brought the money together. It didn't come from McMinnville, it came from our community.
Welcome to another edition of Community Insider. Join us as we travel Middle Tennessee, uncovering history and experiencing the adventure of unique stories and events coming to you inside your community.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Womack, and welcome to this edition of Community Insider. We're glad that you're with us. As we said outside earlier, the importance of preserving history and seeing the community come together with the Dibrell Museum and really what this nonprofit organization is all about is so very important to the community. And we have with us Miss Ann Hutchins, Miss Ann Haley Hutchins. The reason we mentioned the Haley because we're going to mention your mom and dad's name. They had a founding part with really chartering what is the museum now in 1974. Mention their names and why was this so important to your parents?
Well, my mother and father always loved history of all kinds, plus the fact that we have a lot of ththings that are getting ready to be lost. Yeah. And so they knew it would take a while to get the money and build the location. And there were 5 of the beginning founders, and that was Miss Pauline Gribble. She was a school teacher for over 40 years here in the Dibrell area. She was my father's 2nd grade teacher and my 1st grade teacher. And Miss Pauline and my mother and father, Roy and Billy Haley, and Thomas and Christine Foster would meet and talk about how they were going to get this organized. And in 1974, they created the charter, sent it to the state. Miss Pauline was the incorporator. And then they got to work and eventually built the building. And the Home Demonstration Club was very important in the building of the building. They quilted, and they would quilt. Other people would put their quilt tops together, and then the ladies in the Home Demonstration Club would work and quilt that and then sell the quilt. And they also quilted and had auctions for it. They went to auctions, home auctions and things of that nature, and sold snacks and cookies and anything that they could. They also started a beauty pageant to raise money and help support. So eventually they were able to have enough money that they could buy all the materials that it was going to take to build the building. And my father was a contractor, and he donated his time. He drew the plans, got everything approved, and then built the building.
It's unbelievable how much time has passed because I can remember coming up here. I also went to Dibrell School, and it was a field trip.
Right.
It was a thing that they always did. We was brought up here during a field trip day or field day, and to think about the massive amount of history and the importance of it continuing. I'm seeing here just to our side shot, right past Miss Ann, the plaques of people throughout the ages who have, I guess, helped the memorial building to keep this going and stuff like that. If we don't continue this, there's not going to be a future.
Right.
So that's another reason why we're meeting with y'all today, is to try to encourage those that's watching, regardless of where you're at. You may have family. I mean, to be honest with you, if these walls could talk, if these pictures could talk, it would talk about descendants, so much heritage from people in other states. And you can help in that way. You've been helping for several years, but you have even more ties with this. What was your background in Dibrell, being a part of the Dibrell School?
Well, I was just a member of, I was just a classmate. My sister was in the last graduating class, and she was the valedictorian. And my father...
And this would have been
1960,
the high school.
High school, 1969.
Yeah.
And my dad was the valedictorian of his class. So we have ties to that in that way. Now, I actually graduated from Warren County High School because she was in the last class, and then 2 years later I graduated out in town. But our community did so much to try to build this. It was not just the beginning founders. Then we, a few years later, I think it was 1983, we had a board of directors, and we had Miss Pauline was the president and the treasurer. My mother was the secretary. My father was the vice president, and then we had Thomas and Christine were on the board, as well as Bessie Gribble, a sister to Pauline, and some others. And I'm sorry, I'm not remembering all their names, but there were 5 of them, and they were Edward Oliver. Some people may remember him. Edward Oliver was on the board as well, and he was a teacher. Bessie was a teacher, and Pauline were all teachers here in Warren County, as well as at Dibrell. Now, the memorial that you just mentioned, that was a way of recognizing people that lived in the community forever. It has their birth date and their death date on there. But when donations were made to the museum, their name goes on the plaque. And you could still today, matter of fact, I just took the plaque and had 2 more names put on it just within the last month.
Well, that's good. That's good.
So a lot of people...
anybody that's watching can also add their parent's name or their own name whenever someone passes away.
Absolutely.
It's sort of a remembrance of that they was a part of that community. That's awesome. So
all you have to do is you make a donation or ask people to, and I have some cards at some of the funeral homes, but I'll put more up there. And what I do when we get the money in, I take the plaque down, take it, and have it have the little individual plaques put on there. You see those last 4; those are recently put on, and we will continue to add plaques. That's just a fundraiser, not a fundraiser, but a memorial, so that we can remember. But it also helps generate a little bit of money in, because we have ongoing expenses, electric and gas and so forth. But we also rent the building. So if you have a bridal shower or a family gathering and you want more space, the next room is available. It has a large counter and the sink and stove and refrigerator and all the things that you would need, as well as the restroom. So we do rent the building out.
That's good. And so I know we've got some more questions about the preserving part of what people can come see. Y'all still do tours and let people see that? We
do. All you have to do is give a call and ask. It's not open daily, but we have had some tours. And we're trying to get to where we would have like a day that we would have someone, but it's all growing. Again, we had a kind of a slow period It was still there. It's always been here. It's just that our president is young, and her son graduated from the Dibrell, and it's now in the high school. And he's always been fascinated with it, and so actually the youth wanted us to get going with it again.
Yes, I think it's very important. I appreciate it. My son, which is doing the camera work, is featured my wife's teacher's aide at Dibrell, so we have a close tie with it. But most importantly, my father graduated from high school. There's a community importance to continue this and also preserve the history. Miss Ann, in just a little bit, I've just got a few questions about some of the spots. We're not going to show you everything in the whole museum because I want you to come in person, but there is some fascinating artifacts that is represented here in the museum, and also the pictures of probably class pictures. This is the only place you can find them.
Right. When they tore down the old building, the ones that were trying to save anything and everything they could, they got together and they packaged them and wrapped them, knowing that we were going to have the museum because we were working toward the museum. So they pulled all the ones down. That's the Dibrell from 1944 and all the way to 69. So, but we were a high school from 23 until 69.
We're here, and right where this building sits was a little white building. It was first the home ec department. Miss Hinckley, Miss Lib Hinckley was the home ec teacher, and Mr. Hinckley, of course, was principal for years. And this was home ec, where the home ec department was. Then it was later turned into the first hot lunch room. There was two big rooms to it. In the front we ate in, and the back we cooked in, and that was when you brought food, cans of stuff to pay for your hot lunch when they just first started. So and they would let some of us girls help in there, and I have helped in the kitchen with the first hot lunch. Then that went away, and then it was turned into the house for the custodians that lived here for a while. And then, of course, after that, it deteriorated, and they finally let us have the committee that was going then. They let us have the ground to build this building on. So this is part of the original campus, I guess you would say.
We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Community Insider. We have Miss Linda Paris, who is the president of the Dibrell Memorial Museum, and really you've been helping for some time, but you go back with your history here at the elementary school. Someone was telling me outside that painting featured you in there. Is that right?
I am the Girl Scout in there.
Wow.
Then you've got Bobby Pennington is the Boy Scout, and then Jeffrey Womack, I think, is the other Boy Scout. I think he's the redheaded one in there. And so,
that's
yes,
unbelievable.
I was in 3rd grade.
And they just asked y'all to come out there to get
We
that
had to
shot?
come, they got the shot, and then Patsy painted it.
Wow, wow.
And so,
About
yes.
what year was that?
I started Dibrell in 1980, so 83, 84.
Okay.
When we took over, we realized that there was a financial need. We had some decline on some projects. We'd had some money donated to get some projects completed. We've got those completed. The new blinds, the sign being repainted out front, thanks to a memorial from a family member that had been lost here in the community. Came in, got to look in. We're working on now raising enough money to replace the roof, and hopefully we're going to be able to put some metal roof on there so it'll last for a long time. We've got some other projects here. We're wanting to do some flooring, keep things going, do a little bit of updating. We are trying to do some cleaning out of things. We have the Dibrell, Brief History of Dibrell Area by Miss Bessie Gribble. We have those books here. If anyone's interested in one of those, they can contact
And
us.
you can actually purchase one of these. This
Yes.
is history you won't never be able to get again.
Right. And so, and they can reach out on our Facebook page, and we can make contact with them there. And another piece of history that we have is a cookbook collected and written by Miss Bessie Gribble. I know cookbooks we're all getting our recipes online now, but there's some recipes in here that you will not find online, and you may find some recipes that have been passed down through the generations, etc.
Well, here's the biggest thing. You're you're getting to be a part of preserving history, and you're getting something for that, for a keepsake. So that's the other reason also.
Yes.
Speaking of keepsakes, you've got a elaborate banner. This came from the old school. Explain to me what y'all are doing and what you're trying to preserve with this.
Okay, well, this was before my time, but this came from the old Dibrell High School. The people that are helping with it today, their class helped pay for it, helped get it put together. And it was on the back wall of the stage in the auditorium for years. So we're working on, whenever we came in, I knew this stuff had been in the floor behind some stuff for years, and I'm like, what is it? They're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, we're gonna have a meeting and we're gonna pull all this stuff out and see what it is. And so we've moved, it's like a big galvanized pole that it was attached to with some wood. And I'm like, okay, that's just asking for a place for mice or something to get into. So we've got that cleaned out, and we've cleaned it up, and we're working on hemming it, and we're going to take along this black wall here, we're going to display it and have it to where if we, somebody's wanting to get a picture there without the backdrop, we can roll it up and take it down with that. So we're here trying to preserve it. We worked on it earlier, and our machine could not get the top and bottom because of the paint on it, kept breaking needles. So we're hand sewing today.
Yeah. So I noticed there's several ladies here helping you today. You have got, I don't know how real the length of it is, 30 foot? I don't know, maybe longer footage-wise, but it's going to pretty much capture the whole back wall here.
Yes.
Now, what is interesting with this, I thought, was just a handful of known businesses that I recognized that still maybe even still in business, but the history, each square tells, phone numbers, locations. It really captures, it's not just Dibrell history, it's all over the community. I noticed
supporters of the
Miss Ann
school
was mentioning a lot of businesses from Smithville's on there because people from Dibrell, of course, went to both cities, Smithville and McMinnville. So you have businesses from McMinnville and Smithville. I think this is going to be really neat to see. I appreciate y'all preserving that. You did look into some safety issues that you was concerned about. You went through the process of making sure that you was all right on that. Explain some of that.
Well, as we was working on it and kept breaking the machine needles, we're like, okay, what is this? Because we had cleaned it, we had vacuumed it, we had blown it out with a leaf blower, everything, and it was still dust after dust. I'm like, okay, is this possibly something else? We've done a little bit of research. Like, well, it could possibly be asbestos. And I'm like, oh, no wonder, coughing. So we went ahead, we done a test kit, and it came back negative. It is not. And while we had the test kits, we went ahead and checked their popcorn ceiling because those were the time factor but we're asbestos free. So that was exciting, seeing as we're trying to get back up and going with everything.
I've always been interested in it. Like I was telling, we always had our class reunions here, class reunions and family reunions. And I always wanted to do something, keep it clean and keep it presentable for people that wanted to rent it. And then after when my cousins in Michigan passed away with COVID, which they was interested in the place, and then my nephew died, Ronald Glenn, and my brother died a week after that, Dwayne Haley, and I wanted to do something. So we had a lot of people made donations, and I said, our family all wanted to just donate something to the museum because all of them was interested in this. And so anyway, different people wanted to be a part of it. So we got a good-sized donation, and I wanted it spent for something that we could see that had been done. So we put up blinds in the dining area and also painted the sign out front, which it was badly in need. So we got that done, and it just blossomed after that. So I started talking to some more people, and they felt the same way. And so we just got involved. That's how it all got started to where we are today. It is preserving what's in the past, and I think that once anybody would come, they would really enjoy being here. You see, we have met so many of our former classmates that comes to the meetings and everything, and everybody just it's just like a big family.
what would you tell folks that's watching as far as how they could get involved, trying to find out more information about the museum, or just renting this for their family gathering? What would be the way for them to do that?
They can reach out to us on our Facebook page, Dibrell Memorial Museum. Just send a request and we will get you added to it. I'm not real good at that, so I've got somebody on our committee. Here is the number you can contact if you want to rent. Obviously, it's 931-934-2175, and that's Miss Jean Rancorn and Larry Rancorn, and they take care of us that for us. They're retired or semi-retired, so people can call them during the day and they would come near being able to answer the phone than I would full-time. So a lot of our retirees has really helped make this come forward and see a lot of progress in a short amount of time.
Miss Linda, what would you say is the reason that you've stayed involved with the community? Your children have been involved with the community. Why do you think that is?
This is home. I love that it's home. A lot of places, you know, I teach high school in Smithville and kids are like, I can't wait to get out of here, I'm leaving Smithville. But I'm like, you do not realize what gem you have. You may leave and it may take you leaving and seeing what's out there to come back, and then several of them are wanting to come home. And so my son and husband, they're more history oriented than I am, but my son's like, you know, whenever they told me that they was fixing to let it go, then I was vice president, and I was like, I'm too busy, and my son's like, but Mama, if you don't take it on, he goes, what's gonna happen to it? And so I did for that because he loves Dibrell, and he goes, my classmates didn't get to see as much, and you know, they could see more if we keep it going, and he saw the importance. So basically, I wanted my son and future generations to have the same memories I did of the Dibrell Museum. I don't remember it being built, but I will say in some of the pictures here as it's first being built, you've got my pictures of me as a 3 and 4 year old. They had the home demonstration club here at Dibrell, and my mom was involved with that. So I would come, you know, 2 o'clock, I don't remember the day of the meetings, but I would be here, they'd have snacks, and I'd just sit there and listen to all the educational programs they had. So it's just part of my history, and I always remember at Christmas, we would come and we'd play bingo and have prizes and a meal. So that was one of my goals for this year, and which, you know, COVID's really put a damper on a lot of things, but we were able to have our Christmas party back. Good. And we got to play bingo, and you know, the young people and the old people enjoyed it, and they're like, oh, we can play bingo. And you know, we were, you know, bringing prizes and stuff. There was some hot cocoa mixes and stuff. Just a time to fellowship and be together with your community and give back to the community.
Once again, go to their Facebook page, find out more information about the Dibrell Memorial Museum. Preserve your history and see how you can be a part.
And feel free to come out. Yeah, it's the fourth Monday at 5:30. We have meetings, just business meetings, planning projects and stuff. So everybody from the community is invited. Everyone that's went to Dibrell, taught at Dibrell, they are all in our charter part of the Dibrell Memorial Museum. So come out, get involved. I'd like to see another 1982 celebration here in the Dibrell community, celebrating the bicentennial. Really fond memories from my childhood.
We hope you're enjoying the program, and we want to hear from you, maybe for some show ideas or for more information about what we do and how we can tell your next story. Give us a call today at 931-409-7151, or simply just email us at communitytvtn, all one word, at gmail.com, or check out our website at www.communitytvtn.com. We would love to hear from you. Send us your email, communitytvtn@gmail.com.
Of course, all this is accumulating around the building of the new school and It's, you know, an older portion will be still left. That you'll be using the gym,
Yes.
but what will it be used for?
Okay, we intend to use the gym for an all-purpose room.
Okay.
And for lots of activities, for, you know, playtime, maybe assemblies that we don't need the, you know, the
Right.
big gym, but yes, it will come in handy.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, we want to thank you for your time. I know you're a
Yes.
busy lady tonight.
Thank
we're
you.
looking forward to all the activities that's happening
Yes.
tonight, and you guys stay tuned. We'll have more coming your way.
Thank you.
Dibrell Elementary School, we've got a big night planned for you tonight. Once again, we want to thank some of the media that's here. We've got BLTV Channel 6, also the Warren County School System Channel 180, and Jeffrey Simmons and Dwayne Sherrill from Southern Standard are here too. First, we want to recognize two outstanding fans. These two fans come to every game and have been longtime supporters of Dibrell. And when I call their names, I'd like for them to come on down. Cheryl Swan and Harold Glenn. Y'all come on down here a second. Cheryl Swan and Harold Glenn, come on down here. These two gentlemen are longtime supporters. We've got some plaques for them. Let's hear it for Mr. Swan and Mr. Glenn, longtime Dibrell supporters. Thank you guys very much for all the support you've given over the years to the Dibrell Wildcats. And now at this time, I've got a lady who's going to give a brief history of Dibrell School. Miss Jane Flatt.
This brings back so many memories. I graduated from high school here in 1966. I played my elementary ball on this floor, and I played my high school ball on this floor. And I know there are a lot of other people who played high school ball the same, and so I wondered why they asked me to make a few remarks, and then it dawned on me, I'm old. I've been around a long time. That was the first reason. The second reason is my maiden name is Gribble, and the Gribble family and education and athletics here at Dibrell go back a long, long way. My grandfather in 1902 helped to establish Dibrell College. It was a two-year college that ran for about 20 years. Before that, there was a high school here that started in 1898. But in 1902, they decided to make a two-year college. 75 people graduated from that high school college with degrees and went on to have really good careers and help this county. One of the people that graduated was Mr. G.W. Hinckley. And in 1923, when they established Dibrell High School, he became the principal of the school and also the coach. Now, Mr. Hinckley was a very, very good principal, but he was also an excellent coach. And he had lots of good ball teams, but back then in 1920s and the early 30s, they had no gym. So they played in the auditorium of the old school. And because he was such an enthusiast, and because he was such a good coach, and because Dibrell had such good teams, he went to the faculty at that time and said, we've got some great players, and they need a gym. So he asked all of the teachers, would you give part of your pay to help start a fund to build the gym? They all agreed to do it. And then he went to the